Welcome, this is Josh Rees with Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. For more information about our church, please visit our website, milehighchurch.org.
We have this wonderful initiative, the Health and Wellness Initiative, that we've been working with all this calendar year. You can go to our website, the website's listed on this slide, and you can find all sorts of helpful information for health and wellness and opportunities to increase your health and wellness and contributions that are there to help you do that. And it's health and wellness physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in every way. And so I am bringing a series here. This is part 2 of a series about spiritual health. What are the highest heights of spiritual health? And so last week we talked about healthy mind, and we talked about the concept of capital M mind, meaning God. We believe that God is the expression of the universe that is in everything and every person, and its mind is the mind that created all that is. And then we talked about our mind and keeping our mind, our human experience of our own mind, healthy, and the co-creative nature that we live in at all times with that mind. The opportunity to use that mind to create the life we would like to live and to be more conscientious about it. Today I want to talk about a healthy heart. And I'm not, bless you, I'm not just talking about the physical heart. I'm talking about that heart, that caring, loving heart. That heart that exists as the heart of the divine in, through, and as all of us, but also our own experience and expression of it. And so part of the heartful thing we do here in our service each time something like this happens is we get to spend a moment of gratitude, sometimes for a beloved one who has passed into the next life experience. And so I want to first of all invite us into a heartful expression. We have a member named Wendy Henry who passed away recently, and we want, her picture is coming up, we want to acknowledge Wendy and give thanks for her and her longtime love, married in spirit, Floyd Nordstrom, who usually sits over here. Are you here, Floyd? Hi, Floyd. Thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing us to acknowledge Wendy today. We want to surround and embrace him with love, and as a community, just send love to Wendy in her next life expression. What a blessing she's been. And that's part of the experience of life, isn't it? It's the whole spectrum of love. And we're going to talk about that today as we surrender Wendy into her next life. That we care and therefore we grieve. We love and therefore we grieve. And so our heart is connected to the divine. The divine is flowing through our heart at all times. And I think what happens to us is that in the human experience, because we have experienced pain and suffering, or we've witnessed pain and suffering, we can turn on the news anytime and see pain and suffering and see it happening, and our hearts grow weary of it. A place in our hearts that wants to say, is it ever going to end? Is the hard stuff ever going to end? Is the pain ever going to end? Is the human beings harming other human beings ever going to end? And when our hearts are broken by what we see in the news, or maybe our hearts have been broken by what we've experienced in our own journey, heartbreak, loss, betrayal, sadness, disappointment, a part of us builds a shield, I think, and shields up our heart, our own heart space, because we logically conclude it's just too painful. It's too painful to have an open heart. It's too painful to love. It's too painful to care. It's too painful to pay attention to that stuff. And so the shields are up. However, what happens when the shields go up is we miss living the healthiest, most joyful aspect of life. Because I want to tell you the absolute truth here. Those of us who are truly spiritually healthy, who have a healthy mind spiritually and a healthy heart, do not get to escape the sadness and pain of this realm of living. That's not, I think, currently what human beings are meant to do here. That indeed, healthy hearts feel sadness and joy. Healthy hearts feel the pain of the human condition and see the beauty. Healthy hearts sometimes are confused, but seek to find clarity. That healthy hearts are not just hearts that are happy all the time, and if I was just happy all the time, that's spiritual health. That is not spiritual health. Because a huge part of being a spiritual being, having a human experience, is a recognition that we feel sadness and compassion for people, for ourselves, for the conditions that show up in our lives. Yet, what we then choose to do when we have a healthy heart is we don't allow the shields to go up for very long. We may need to protect ourselves for a little while, maybe a boundary we have to live from, but eventually we choose consciously and conscientiously for the shields to come down so that we might bring the heart that God is as us into the conditions and challenges that most distract us from the truth of who we are. When the shields go up and they stay up for the rest of our lives, we feel that we're only living half a life. We feel like we're only engaging a little bit in life. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I have never been at the deathbed of anyone, and I have been at the deathbed of people many times in this role that I'm in life. Not a one of them has ever said, I wished I wouldn't have opened my heart up so much. It's usually quite the opposite. I wish that I would have opened my heart. I wish that I would have let love have its way in me, through me, and as me, towards as many people as possible, and in as many moments as possible. I wish I wouldn't have put people out of my heart so quickly. I wish that I could have found a way. Well, here today we propose the way. It's being present and allowing the presence of the divine to have its way through us, with us, as us, in us. So we're using a work today. A number of weeks ago, I discovered and came across a reading on Facebook, actually, from the great author and teacher Elizabeth Gilbert. Many of you may know her work. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. That was a wonderful best-selling book that became a movie. And she is a speaker, teacher extraordinaire. And she wrote something, it's called 10 Actual Things That Love Has Said to Me When I Was Alone and Afraid. And she says, for anyone who might need it today. I took those 10 things and I worked with them and I read them over and over again and I mushed them into 4 things. I didn't change her words. Elizabeth, if you're watching, I didn't change your words. I just moved some things around that felt like they went together for my use today. But I have brought the voice of God to us today, and what better manifestation and expression of the voice of God than practitioner prayer partners, right? So we have 4 practitioner prayer partners who are going to read the 4 sections that we have today, and I'm going to talk a little bit in between them. And as I said in the beginning of the service, I invite us to hear that this is life. Love, the love that God is speaking to and through each of these practitioner prayer partners, to each one of us very pointedly. And by the way, next Sunday is our annual Practitioner Recognition Sunday, where we get to acknowledge and thank our practitioners for their ongoing work and support of our community. How many of you have ever been touched by a practitioner praying for you, supporting you, a TA in a class? Look at all these hands. So we all have been blessed by them. So please be with us next week so that we can bless them back with our love and adoration. And so I have 4 of the many of them here today. And we're going to start with Elizabeth's reading. Our first practitioner is Jill Frickard. She's going to read for us.
What's that, my baby? You feel like you're failing at life? But may I ask, by whose rules and by what deadline? If it helps, sweetheart, you can't possibly do anything wrong. By which I mean, you can't possibly do anything that will lose me. Please, stop looking for proof that you are wrong and bad. Don't be in such a hurry to disown yourself. And please, for the love of God, stop trying to transform. Just sit here, with me for a moment and let me love you exactly as you are. And maybe get yourself a nice big glass of water. That usually helps.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful words. What I like about this section of Elizabeth's work is the invitation to allow ourselves to open to the unconditional love that the divine is. And I think we humans even have a hard time imagining true unconditional love because we are so caught up in the realm of conditional love. And just to be clear, here's what conditional love looks like. I only love you if you meet certain conditions that by which I agree you are acceptable. Your behavior is acceptable. Your words are acceptable. Your actions are acceptable to me. As long as that occurs, then I will give you and share with you my love. In the absence of that, you may have my judgment and separation and disconnect. And we do that to ourselves because we've been all caught up in the stories and the games that we have discovered in life, the pathways on which we did something and someone maybe didn't approve of us or didn't choose to love us in that moment. Or we've also seen how many of us have projected even onto God the unconditioned loving presence that I believe is the truth of these words spoken, that for it, you and I have never done anything to be kicked out of the kingdom of God's love. Now, I know some of us imagine that that's not true, but what about that time and when I lied? And so we've created often a mental equivalent of God that says God only accepts people who do X, Y, and Z. Or you only get to heaven if you do this, otherwise you go to hell. Or you only get approved of by the universe if you do this. And even in our teaching, we have to be careful of this. We claim and proclaim to teach an unconditioned God, but how many of us, when something goes wrong, says, well, I guess it's because I have bad consciousness and God just doesn't want to give that thing to me. Whereas if I have good consciousness, I'll get what I want. So we still are tempted to play that game of reward and punishment, even in a teaching that constantly wants to remind us, look, God's love is unconditional. For the power and the presence that exists in this universe, it simply is. And what this and all great teachers and all great teachings throughout the universe have said to us for ages is just get present to it. You're going to hear that in Elizabeth's writing over and over again. Just stop and get present to it. Just feel it, because we're so busy running those games of what we can do and what we can't do and who approves of us and who doesn't approve of us and what's okay and what's not okay and who's going to love us and who's not loving us right now. And I don't think they like us. I don't think they approve of us. That we are missing I am loved. I am loved. I am loved by the divine. I really enjoyed the book, The Shack, and then the movie also, and I've used examples from it many times. And in the movie, one of the things that I love best is that the main character goes to a place where he's present to God. And God shows up for the first time to him as a beautiful, wise, loving, sassy black woman played by Octavia Spencer. That's the best mental equivalent of God I've seen in a long time. I loved Octavia Spencer as God. And she says to him, I am manifesting to you in the way that will serve you most right now. This is part of what I'm inviting us to take a look at in our lives. What if that which God is manifesting to you and to me exactly in the form that you or I need it right then and there? Sometimes it looks like a challenging situation or a challenging person. Sometimes it looks like love, your kids. Sometimes it looks like a jerk driving badly on the road, right? But I remember, and then later on in the movie, God appears to the main character as a very wise Navajo man who's leading him on a quest. And so I believe that God shows up in that way. And secondly, I loved in this book how whenever, and in the movie, whenever Octavia Spencer, God, would speak about someone, she would say, I'm exceedingly fond of them. And so often I take that on. And I feel that for myself as I go within and feel that love that God is. Could I be present to the voice of the divine saying, I am exceedingly fond of you? What if I felt that and allowed that more often? Who could I be? How might I walk through my life and be in my relationships and deal with the things I deal with every day if I knew that the divine presence is exceedingly fond of me? How might all of us be if we listened for that? I think that's the invitation here, to allow ourselves, to return ourselves, to the love that God is as us. Our next part of the reading is going to be shared by practitioner Larry Cattell.
You don't need to show compassion or patience to the world right now. Why would I force that on you when you don't actually feel it? You don't even need to be grateful right now. I love you so much, I will never ask you to do anything you can't do. Just sit here with me and know that you are loved, and let that be all we do right now. Can you find the courage, the curiosity to live one breath at a time? Can you breathe into this very moment right now? Because right now is the only place I will ever be able to find you. So meet me halfway, dear one, by taking the next breath.
So, yes, Larry, thank you. As we take the next breath, I see this part of the reading as that continued invitation to get present. I find it fascinating and curious that in our world right now, whether it's in spiritual communities, meditation communities, corporate communities, and businesses, people are obsessed with practicing mindfulness. And I personally think it's because we are desperate to get present to this love that we know is at the core of us. And there's something in us that knows that all this running around not being present to us is not serving us. And so mindfulness has become quite a practice, an opportunity to just get in the present moment and to let go of being that thing that people talk about, the human doing, and be a human being. And the nice thing about mindfulness is we can do it at any moment of our lives. A huge part of it is just exactly as this says, taking a deep breath and just being, focusing in on my heart space right now, on the heart energy that's expressing through me. Just taking a deep breath and noticing what I'm noticing. Just taking a deep breath and being present to the person that I'm in front of right now. And that it's not hard work, it's more surrender work. This past week I was in a workshop that my mother was teaching, and we were exploring qualities about our personality and ourselves, and I got really caught up in the word striving and noticed how much lately I have been striving to get things done, striving to be where I'm supposed to be, striving to get it all complete, striving to do this, until I realized that I was even like striving to meditate. Here's me meditating. Meditate. Striving to get still, striving to be mindful, striving to be, it's like, and it's exhausting. I can even feel it right now. But when I was playing with it and dancing with it, and I looked back at my life, and I have had some profoundly transcendent moments where I felt this love that God is pouring through me. What I noticed about those, they didn't ever come from striving. Not a one of them. They came from surrender, allowing, letting, being. So the gift of this practice of being with the divine every day in every way, throughout the day, weaving moments of mindfulness, weaving moments of quietude, weaving moments of nature, weaving moments of stillness, taking that drink of water and breathing it in and being mindful, is that it creates a space in us, a touchstone to the heartfulness that we are, that then as we go forth, those things that we're about, the places we're going, we bring that in a powerful, easy, grace-filled way. And that there's a flow to our workflow, a flow to our grieving and sadness, a flow to our relationships, a flow to what we see going on without that striving so hard, allowing ourselves to be present. So let's pause in the middle of this talk and do that right now. I invite us all to take that deep breath and just get present. And let's use the beautiful words of the amazing Maya Angelou, who says to us, open your eyes to the beauty around you. So a mindful moment of getting present to our heart is just looking around. You can, if your eyes are closed, looking at the light that's behind the eyelids and just noticing, but looking around at the people and the space that is here. She goes on to say, open your mind to the wonders of life. Take a moment to remember the wonderful things we've seen and experienced in life, the beauties of nature. Open your heart to those who love you. Think about the people right now in your life that you know love you and you're connected to. And always be true to yourself. These beautiful words. Open your eyes to the beauty around you. Open your mind to the wonders of life. Open your heart to those who love you. And always be true to yourself. And with a deep breath, we come back into this space as practitioner Carol Swanson takes us into the next part of Elizabeth's reading.
You are not crazy or broken, sweetheart, but you do have a mind that requires constant, tender, and affectionate stewardship. Good thing you have me. Stop trying. Does that scare you? Do you still have trouble believing how loved you are, even when you are doing nothing, producing nothing, improving nothing, understanding nothing? Can you sit quietly with me for a moment and consider the possibilities?
Okay, so that can be a very huge koan, right? Doing nothing? What did she say? Doing nothing, but it goes back to this presence. I have very fond memories of sitting in my backyard in Salida, Colorado, and looking up at the apple tree and looking at the sky for hours. Hours. And to some that might have seemed like a lazy, unproductive thing, but it gave me an appreciation of nature and life and the stillness. To stop trying so hard, to stop working so hard. What happens, I think, in this process of falling into being a human doing is that we want to use the steam of activity and productiveness to feel our validity and to feel like we're doing enough. This notion, this mental equivalent that the busiest person is the most important, that as long as I'm busy, I am important, I'm productive, that's all that matters. And people as they grow older and may be called into being less productive, judge themselves because they can't do as much as they used to and all that. What if that being non-productive makes us more available to the divine than when we're so busy doing all sorts of stuff? And so it's another invitation to live on heart steam, because here's what I recognize. For people who do take that time and they live on the steam, the engine, the resource engine of their own hearts and of this love that God is as them, they're always at the right place. They're always getting things done. And if they don't get something done, they don't get it done. It must not have been the right thing to get done and the right time to get it done. There's a perfect right action that flows from them. There's an ease and a grace. There's a love and a light. There's a peace. That's what I think we're striving for. And the last reading by practitioner Ken Krisman, who I am exceedingly fond of.
I see how much you fear solitude sometimes, but trust me, this is your medicine. Also, I have a secret for you. You are not alone. It's actually not even possible. I'm right here. I've always been right here. I will always be right here, and I've got nothing but time for you. Don't worry about how everyone else is doing it. There is no everyone else. There is only you and me, and my name is love. And so is yours. So let's just sit quietly now and know this truth together.
There's only you and me. Only you and me, and my name is love. In my recent journey into Brené Brown's latest book, Atlas of the Heart, she really talks about the difference between loneliness and being alone. And I think this one really reminds us that no matter what we're going through, no matter how lonely we feel, because there are moments in our life where we're alone and we can feel the gift of that. But it's those times where we feel lonely that I think this one is calling us to, that this voice is saying, you're never alone. There's never a moment that you're lonely or alone. How can you be? You might feel lonely, that's fine. But recognize and get back in touch with this love that God is as you, and allow it to have its movement through you. And I asked us last week to pay attention to what we're pledging our allegiance to in the world of form. So in this last point, I'm also going to ask us to consider what we're pledging allegiance to with our heart. Because a lot of us are finding the temptation to pledge allegiance to separation, to anger, to frustration. I know that there are big problems on this planet, and we have to solve them all. I know it. But here's what I also know. We aren't going to solve them through judgment and anger and separation. We can only solve them when more and more of us access this place of the heart. And what I've been finding that is helpful and comforting to me out of reading this reading and being reminded of this is that I can take the things I'm most concerned about, the people I'm concerned about, worried about, and I can take them into this heart space with me, and that divine presence that loves me gives me wisdom and allows me to feel peace and release and a sense of connectedness, even to the things that I am most sad about, the things that I am feel most disconnected about. Whereas if I'm out here in this stuff all the time, I'm just like a little hamster on that wheel, go, 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 and exhausting myself. But in this place, when I use that heart steam, I notice that I am profound. This place is activating my nervous system, always in this negative way that doesn't serve me. This place connects me and allows me to feel the flowing energy of my own wisdom and of the truth that love is. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, when he was at the end of his life, it's reported that he talked about how he wished that he would have talked about the love part more. A recognition and acknowledgement that the ability to access this love that the divine is, this love that flows through our heart, this love that is the truth of us, guides us and directs us and provides wisdom and helps us feel more loved all the time. And a person who feels more loved is more loving and wise and profound and can truly make a difference. So I close today with a quote from our founder, Ernest Holmes. You are made perfect in the law when you enter into conscious communion with love. Love is the fulfillment of the law. That is, only through love can the law fulfill itself in your experience, because love harmonizes everything, unifies everything. It gives to everything, flows through everything. You can never make the most perfect use of the law of your life unless the use is motivated by love. I invite us this week to go out into our lives and to feel this love, to tend to our hearts, to hold as an important element of living this week a healthy heart. Not with Cheerios, although if that works for you, that's fine. They can be healthy heart. Apparently, that's what I hear. But, but a healthy heart from that spiritual opening and awareness, that healthy heart that allows us to feel the presence, to get present, to be mindful, to allow the wisdom that God is, the love that God has, and to feel this week that to God, you are exceedingly beautiful. You are exceedingly precious. You are exceedingly needed on this planet right now. Your heart, my heart, our heart. And so we move into prayer with this intention. And I invite our practitioner prayer partners to stand with us as we pray today, as we take a stand in the heart that is God, to accept and affirm that this power and this presence is the greatest medicine of all, is the healing presence, the healing balm, the light and the love and the wholeness that we've been seeking throughout every relationship, every activity, every moment of our lives. It's been right here all along. And we choose to partake of it. We choose to let the shields down, to step into the heart, to say yes to our own beloved heart, the God that lives within us, that is exceedingly fond of us. For we've been created out of it, from it, as it. We are that which it is. And when we enter into this heartful space, the profound healing and wholeness of that love has its way through us. We let it. We let it. We know that it is the greatest medicine there is. We know that it is the greatest comforter there is. We know that it is the greatest remedy. And we let it be. We let it. We choose it. And with love and light, we surrender this reality, this acceptance as we go forth from this place, living this out in this week ahead with great love and light. We surrender, let it go, and let it be. And so it is.
Thanks for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. To make a donation, please visit milehighchurch.org.